Great, great win over an outstanding program and a really, obviously, Hall of Fame legendary coach and terrific team. I thought our guys showed a lot of resiliency. Bottom line, I thought that was kind of our ability to be resilient, to keep coming, to try to win the next possession was really important. And at the end, our players just made enough plays. But I was really proud of their resiliency. I think Duke's going to have a phenomenal year. I think they're really, really gifted and talented. And listen, just like we played them last time, they were coming back from a trip from Maui. This time they were coming back from Vegas. But I don't want to take anything away from our guys. I thought our ability to stay with it was really important. And players win games. Players win games. And we had a number of guys make plays down the stretch.
Like you say, you had a number of guys make plays. EJ's done so much for you, and he hit some of the big shots late. But Cedric gave you a real burst. Zed was consistent throughout the game. What did you get from those two guys in particular that helped you weather when things weren't going very well?
Well, I think, Ced, I think in a lot of ways was Ced and Zed were the difference. I think the production we got, we need some production on the perimeter, but I thought, Cedric had a look in his eyes. He wanted to stay aggressive. I thought Malachi gave us a good burst there early. I thought Ced's ability to step up and that dagger three that he hit there in the corner to, I think, either put us up one or get us, I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't quite a dagger, but it was a really important play for us. And then EJ finishing the game the way he did. We tried to get him to his spots. I told him at halftime, man, hey, listen, nobody out here is better than you. And be that guy in the second half. And I thought his ability to not turn it over, 6 assists, 4 turnovers after having 4 in the first half. Listen, he's got to get better at that. He will. But dude's an absolute warrior. He is an absolute warrior.
When you talk about resiliency, you've been in close games. You've been in some of these moments. When you're down 7 in the final 4 minutes to the #1 team, did you see similar things when you're talking to your guys and when you're drawing things up as you have in some of these other early season close situations?
Yeah, obviously we've had some really dramatic games here, and I don't think that's ending anytime soon. So if you think that, hey, the close games are over, we got another really, really tough challenge on Sunday night. That's the challenge in front of us right now. That's going to go down to the wire, and we need to be able to win the next possession. And listen, there is a tough-mindedness that teams, if they don't have it, they better get it. They better grow it and build it. If you're not tough-minded, you can't do these things. And I think we preach that with our guys. Stay in the moment. I didn't want them to think about being down 13, being down 15, being down 7 in the last 4 minutes. Just win the possession right in front of us. Easier said than done, but that was important.
Coach, in the grind of a season, it can be easy to forget how fun it is for these guys when they beat a team like this at home. What's it like for you to be in this moment, but also to see how much they enjoy it with the crowd storming the court after?
Yeah, our crowd was phenomenal. Can I just make sure everybody prints that? Our crowd was phenomenal, okay? All right, phenomenal. I know sometimes, right, it's the #1 team in the country, so there's an expectation. It's a legendary coach. It's a lottery pick. All those things come with it. But we needed all of you tonight, and we need you back. And the next time we play Towson at home, I hope this creates even more interest. Our students were phenomenal. It's a great win in the sense that you feel really good for your players to enjoy that.
What is it like for you to see that reaction from them? They're 18, 19-year-old kids, just to see them with other students, because they are students, and go through that with them today.
My first thing was I wanted Duke to get off. I wanted to make sure they were safe. But listen, I hope the students enjoy it well into the morning, safely, but well into the morning. All right. I think that it was great to see our players. If you were in Florida with us, you saw how disappointed we were after that. We played really well. We played really well in stretches in both games, but gave up a lead there against Florida, and it was the different.
We got a number of folks that want questions. Let's try to limit it to one. We'll try to get out of here before the sun up. Chris, Ced kind of comes out of nowhere, at least
Yeah.
in our. How satisfying is it a coach to see a guy do that? And does it surprise you at all when that happens, when a guy gets in a zone? I mean, he just kind of took over.
Well, he did have a look in his eye. And the bottom line is, and we try to tell this, as players, if you're not playing, if things aren't going well, if you get into your feelings, you're only hurting yourself. You're only stunting your own growth and your own development. If you live in your feelings, I'm not playing as much, I'm not doing this, coach didn't play me here, I'm missing shots. If you live in your feelings, you're only hurting yourself. And I thought he has shown in the last week and a half to 2 weeks the ability to just kind of come to work every day. And he's a really, he had a look in his eye, an aggressive look, which I loved.
Coach, was there maybe a moment down the stretch of the game, last few minutes, where you saw something that went right today that didn't go right in either the Xavier loss or the Florida loss, where you felt like, hey, critical moment, good spot of growth here for our group?
I thought we've executed pretty well late in games, but I thought our execution on both ends tonight, defensively and offensively, was as good as it's been all year. I would just point to that on both ends, if that makes sense.
You had a chance to score 11 points at the free throw line in the last 6 minutes of the first half.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
You scored 3. Thank you. I'm glad I lived up to your
expectations. I looked over, actually. I'm sitting across, the front, God bless her, in the front row. Late in the second half right now, after we miss whatever free throw, and I just saw her as the ball clanged off go, and I thought, yeah, I agree. It was frustrating. But the guys relaxed, and Zed made a couple big ones there late.
But what I was getting at was your talk earlier about being tough-minded. You had that period, and then you had a 4-possession stretch in the second half where they weren't scoring, and you went empty 4 in a row, and EJ never got a shot in that stretch. How do you stay tough-minded when you were really not that in 2 what could have been consequential points of the game?
Yeah, I thought we didn't play with great poise offensively in that stretch. That was my frustration with that. I just didn't think we played with great poise offensively in that sequence of 4 shots where we held them scoreless, and that's where we have to get a little bit better. We just didn't play with good poise or purpose on the offensive end. We did really well late, but we didn't then.
Chris, I know you're big on players win games. You said that already. But you've now beaten a #1 team here twice, going back to Michigan State. What is it that you and your staff are able to do in these big games like this to get these wins and kind of take credit for yourself and the staff a little bit?
I appreciate you saying that. I just think you're, you want your group to be really aggressive. I think there's an aggressiveness that's required in games like this, and the ability to be resilient and not flinch. I remember the same thing when we were at Butler and we played Villanova. There was in some ways a game like this where it was kind of back and forth. This one was different because in the games that we played like that, I didn't feel like we ever really had a hold of this until the final buzzer. But I think that's just there's an aggressiveness required and a resiliency when you're playing teams like this.
Coach, they shot 22% in the second half. I'm just wondering what you thought you were able to do to make them so uncomfortable on offense.
Yeah, I think Jake Diebler's done a good job with kind of scheming. And bottom line is we had to guard the ball better. We had some self-inflicted mistakes in the first half, fouls, turnovers. Easy transition points for them, loose balls that we couldn't grab that they got. But give them credit. They are phenomenal. Coach K puts them in great position. They attack you. But I just thought they played against a set defense more in the second half.
Chris, of all the things that Zed did well tonight, I thought he had 2 kind of really key closeouts there.
Yeah, he did.
Late couple possessions. he played almost 30 minutes. I guess to still have the energy there and the awareness to make those plays, is that sort of indicative of the growth you wanted to see from him this year?
Yeah, he's getting better. He's getting better. And all those people that have clamoring for us to have a center, please, he's a young kid who is growing. He is a center. He's 6'8". He's a little bit shorter than Terrence Dials, but he has 7'1" wingspan. He could score in the low post. He's got to get more fit, but he can be a load down there. He's got to get better. He's got to pass out of certain situations better. But I thought playing 30 minutes speaks to his fitness level. He's in the best shape. His body composition's the best it's been.
Chris, this may be too big of a big picture of a question, but this is your first game against Coach K, right? Like,
yes.
Coaching against him. Just given how the last 6 months have gone here, some of the guys that you're going to rely on later in the season are really young.
Yeah.
It's Coach K. It's #1 team in the country, all that stuff. For you as a coach, for this program, what does this kind of do for a program who's, trying to really take that next step and getting that confidence in some of these young guys?
I'd have to think about it. You're talking kind of really, which I understand and appreciate the question, and kind of a 30,000 foot view of what this game means. And it's Wednesday, so I'm just trying to get ready for Penn State. I'm just trying to get ready for Penn State. I'm going to go recruiting tomorrow, and I'm going to do cleanup, and I'm going to watch Penn State. I do think it was important for us to your point, to beat a team of this caliber. I thought it was important when we did that against Seton Hall. But the energy around this game, it's hard to minimize how important that is for your school, for your students, and certainly it validates some of the things we've been preaching to our guys about being resilient and tough-minded. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Chris, Cedric mentioned that there were a couple of things coming in at attacking.
Yeah, you know what? We didn't know we were going to get as much single coverage in the low post, so we changed a little bit. I thought we were a little too tentative in the first half offensively, to be honest with you, and that's my fault. But I thought we could run our offense. We could get some good looks. Their length and disruption is really impressive. But once the game went on, we felt like we could get the ball in the low post. They were really giving EJ a lot of attention, and I felt like that created some opportunities for Zed.
This is a group that hasn't played, 8 games together this year, and came in without a lot of experience playing together. Do these moments, whether it was tonight, Akron, Seton Hall, do these moments kind of unite a team? Do they make a team grow faster? I don't know what your perspective is on that.
I'm sure. I think tough losses do that with the right group. I think tough losses galvanize your group. You got to find a team you can lose with first. We've always said that. I think tough losses prove and can galvanize your group. But certainly a moment like this can bring a group closer together. It can reinforce some of the things we've talked about, especially when you have a lead like they had.
Chris, to follow up on Zed, he's a guy that when he's making plays, he seems like he brings a lot of energy to his teammates, a lot of energy to the crowd. How big is that when you have a guy that really seems to just naturally bring a lot of energy to the people around?
I love his energy. I'd wish he'd run harder and transition when he's raising the roof. That's my biggest frustration with that, because he can get beat down the floor as he's raising the roof. I think you run faster when your hands are down, but I love his energy.
You said a lot in the last couple of weeks and in the preseason that Cedric was somebody you were, working to bring along and get caught up, and you were having some, he was working through that. What have you seen from him in the last couple of weeks that merited, 16 minutes against the #1 team in the country?
He's slowly gotten a little bit better at understanding how we want to do things offensively. He's been aggressive, and again, he had a look in his eye, but I just think there's a trust level that I have to have with him, that we have to have with him. And while they didn't play a ton down in Florida, the minutes that he played were pretty productive. So we went into this game saying, let's give him a look, and I thought he answered the bell.
Let's go 2 more. Connor on the left and Mike over here on the right. Coach, turnovers. quite a few in the first half.
Yeah.
Cleaned it up quite a bit in the second half. Was that a point of emphasis at halftime, or were you trying to get the ball in specific guys' hands in the second half to maybe limit those?
No, I just thought we had some careless ones. They contributed to some of our turnovers, but I just thought we had some really careless ones that we've got to do a better job of. You know, against Penn State on Sunday, we've got to do a better job taking care of the ball. I thought we did a better job. I thought EJ, again, he had 4 at half, and I don't think he had one in the second half. He's making decisions out on the perimeter a little bit more this year, so he's got to be able to read those situations in ways a little bit better, and he did that in the second half.
Chris, like you mentioned, you hit the free throws when you had to. But when they're out there and they're working hard and they're clanking away one after another, how do you usually handle it? Do you talk to them about it? Do you not mention it? And you know what I'm thinking about? What's the process you go through when something like that's going on?
Well, I used to yell at our players for missing free throws, and that doesn't work either. I think you just have to give them confidence. They have a good stroke. We have guys on the line that have a good stroke. Some of them have to work, Mike, better and harder on their free throw shooting. But it's ultimately, as a coach, honestly, you feel like it's on you. Maybe you haven't done enough to work on that. But more than anything, I wanted them to relax. So we really don't address it. We don't say, God, we got to make our free throws. We really, it's almost like a pitcher no hitter. You just don't address it, at least until after the game.